Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. How you doing? It is Tuesday, and I'm going to tell you what is happening today is I think one of the final, well, I don't want to say final, but one of the things when we look back upon what's coming, this will be another one of the things that we point to as to kind of the beginning of the end, talking about Wall Street. It's supposed to be a place for price discovery. I mean, that's really what it was meant to be, right? A place, well, I shouldn't say that was the only thing. Obviously, a place to raise money. But the buying and selling of stocks and commodities was meant for price discovery. In other words, go back to, okay, here's supply, here's demand, right? Let's set the price. That's out the window now. Wall Street is nothing more than a casino run by bankers and set up for only them to succeed. If you don't believe me, take your 401ks. Figure out how much you've put into it. And then figure out your gains after it and tell me how well you're doing. See, because a lot of people confuse and forget that they're putting in hundreds, thousands, some cases tens of thousands of dollars into their 401ks every year. And then think, well, my 401k last year was $10,000. And then they, and now this year it's $20,000. Man, I doubled it. But forgetting, oh, wait a minute. I put $7,000 of that. It was my own money. I'm hardly up. I'm up, but not much. That's always how it works because it's not meant for us. Right now, the GameStop, AMC, and others looks like it's coming to a cruel end. All the restrictions that they put on it, and then today, Wall Street set themselves up and was able to take $250 million and create a $5 billion short attack. Silver last night, they raised all the margin required. Now think about this. Silver had like a $2 move yesterday, right? I mean, $2. They raised the margin requirements 18% overnight, essentially forcing the price down. But this is what they do. There's no discovery here. Here's the thing that's so amazing. There's no silver anywhere. Nowhere. When I went out looking today just to see if, what's out there. I'm seeing a lot of websites that are offering what they're calling pre-sales, which simply means, hey, we don't have the product yet, but we'll sell it to you anyway. We don't do pre-sales. But I'm seeing Silver Eagle pre-sales at $40 an ounce. I'm seeing junk silver. Yesterday we were running junk silver. Man, we sold a ton. Listen, this isn't the end. This is merely the beginning. The laws of economics still apply. But right now, here's all the silver I have in the world. I have one bag of quarters. I have 2 bags of dimes. That's it. We are the cheapest price in the country that I could find. And obviously, I can't go to every website. But I'm the only one that doesn't have the word pre-sale on it. In other words, I actually have it. They're the same price as yesterday. $135 for a roll of dimes, $270 for a roll of quarters, $27,000 for the bag. But you say, but silver's down $2. Shouldn't it be less? And normally the answer would be yes. But we don't have real price discovery. We've got a fake paper market. It's got so much fake paper that the actual supply of gold, silver does not apply. It's just paper. And so I'm proud to do what we do. First of all, number one, I had no idea even yesterday that I was the cheapest in the country, at least that I could find. But I still have that. But that's all I have. That's it. And then I'm done. And then what? I don't know what happens next. When we return, we're going to talk about the criminal organization that is Wall Street and why this time around things may be very, very different. 800-951-0592. Wall Street, they're so proud. Idiots. See, when you do people wrong and the whole world's watching, it doesn't make you a good person. This is what makes it so horrible about what they've really forced us into. Because let's just say, okay, that you worked hard, you lived within your means, you saved your money, and now here you are, you're at retirement, whatever that age is anymore. I'm not even sure what it is. Right. You know. And instead of going to your bank and buying a CD, getting 7 or 8, 10% interest, or maybe you and your financial advisor, you know, maybe you're buying some bonds, some muni bonds, or some, you know, maybe even U.S. treasuries. And you just kind of know, hey, this is what I'm going to get to, right? And the idea was always either make enough, save enough, really not make enough, save enough to where you could live off the interest. Wouldn't that be nice? Right? If you saved $1 million, which probably 99% of the people could never do. But if you did, you know, hey, I could live off of 70, 80,000 a year. Right? That, you know, if I could get 7, 8, heaven forbid you 10% interest, right? That's 100. I could live off that, right? And then I'd have, you know, an inheritance or whatever to give to my kids, or more than likely, hey, maybe if I could save, you know, maybe if I could save 500,000. Well, maybe you know, I'm only going to make, you know, 35,000 a year, but I'll use a little bit. By the time I've died, but I still make it to the end. Right? I didn't run out of money. And you could budget your life that way, right? That's gone. It's gone. Now they force you to do what? You got to do something with it. Can't leave it in the bank. The bank's nothing but, let's face it, you don't get interest. Banks are now an expense. Your bank account's an expense, period. It's an expense. The fees are ridiculous. And you're sitting here and you're thinking, you know what, I've got to be more risky with my money. And then you have this situation where already you've been investing, let's just say your whole life, you've been doing your 401k thing your whole, we should have 401k millionaires out the wazoo. It should be ridiculous. I mean, we had, on average, like 10,000 people a day retiring. In theory, if this 401k thing really worked, we should have 4,000 people retiring as millionaires every day. But we don't. Because it really doesn't work that way. Wall Street doubles. And you're lucky after your contributions. You're lucky if maybe you got 20%. Lucky. And then you have what we've seen over the last several weeks as things have become more public. And I'm talking about the Wall Street bets, GameStop, AMC, Silver. And we've watched how they've behaved. There was rules. Right? I can have a trading account, and I have my money in there. Of course, I keep telling you how it's really not your money. Doesn't this prove it again? All of a sudden, well, you can't buy that stock anymore. Well, why not? Well, because you're hurting Wall Street. You're hurting the bankers. So we're going to block it. Or we're going to restrict it, or we're going to hold up your money. They've done all of those things. And then today, for people that, and again, this is the problem with the, I'll say, the bad stocks of the world. I mean, GameStop's not a good company. It's not. But Wall Street rigged it today to where all I saw I was on Wall Street bets today, and all these guys are posting all their losses and trying to get everyone to stay in and all this stuff. I don't know about that. And then, you know, the ones that are, oh, well, they use the silver to distract us or this or that. You know, I mean, all this crazy stuff that they're trying to use. But here's the reality. You got blown out because the bankers rigged the game against you and against us. And now the world's seeing it. I don't think you could have a better example than silver. I don't think you can have a better example. Since when does it wasn't even a 10% rise in the price yesterday. And we're going to slap 18% onto the what I'll call the margin side of things right? Because what did they want to do? Well, you know what? We don't like the price you're discovering. We don't like it. I mean, tomorrow, if we don't do tomorrow, maybe go up another $2 or $3. We don't want that. We don't like the price that the free market is setting. So we're going to put rules in place that prevent that price. That would be one thing. Like I said, this is not like the GameStop. GameStop was a bad company. They still are a bad company. And what I mean by bad is there's just, they've got too many locations and too much debt. I mean, really, at the end of the day, the biggest problem, they got too much debt for the revenue they're bringing in. I loved the short squeeze. Everyone's, unfortunately, you should have sold out when you could. But neither here nor there. On the silver side of things, there should be silver everywhere today. Right? According to Wall Street, silver's down $2. Well, that would kind of indicate that there must be a lot of silver out there, right? Listen, I'll just use my company, my little piddly company here. We set a single day sales record yesterday. I mean, Friday was ridiculous. Yesterday was ridiculous. We have seen silver, the U.S. Mint sold 5 million ounces of silver eagles in a matter of a couple of weeks. Haven't been able to order a silver eagle going on a couple weeks now. The U.S. Mint said, hey, by the way, it's going to be this way indefinitely. You know, and remember, somewhere in the summer, they're supposed to come out with the new design coin. And so the Mint said, hey, look for sales to be restricted heavily between now and the new design. And I'm wondering, and I'm thinking to myself, well, what do you mean? Why? Can't you just go to the COMEX? I mean, we've got a March contract. Right? We got a March contract for silver, which the last week of March expires. Take delivery. Why not take delivery of 10 million ounces? Get the mint press up and going. I know they've got capacity. I think it was maybe 2016, something like that. They made 50 million ounces in a year. Right? What about junk silver? This, you name it, right? There should be silver everywhere. But there's not. Matter of fact, the paper price has never been more out of line with the physical price in the 18 years I've been doing this. And I'm sitting there trying to think about why. Why? Because people started buying silver. People, retail, common people, kids in their dorm rooms, people working from home, the millennials on their phones have started to go into the silver market. So what was Wall Street's great idea? Let's try to crush them. It's not going to work. Matter of fact, I think it makes the case even better. And I love it today. They trying to talk about, oh, there was a plant or this or that, you know. And again, I think there's a lot of upset people today. The GameStop losses for people that didn't get out was devastating. The guy that I would call Dave Portnoy the leader of the group. I say he's a leader. I don't know that he is, but I say that he is. He's the face behind it all. Sold out all of his positions on GameStop. Or, well, he actually didn't own GameStop. Wasn't in that one. But AMC and a few of the others. I hope they continue to refocus on some of the fundamentals for silver are way better. You've got something where the supply can't keep up with the demand. Sooner or later, I think all of this is going to be exposed. And you're talking about a group that has millions of followers. And I'll be honest with you. All these people that lost money got set up. The GameStops. I'm talking about the GameStops, the AMC. You got set up by Wall Street. And here's the thing. I think it's going to make the movement even bigger. It's going to make it even bigger. I think it shows everybody else what a dangerous, dangerous place Wall Street can be. And, of course, I'm watching today. You know, the Dow's up 500 points. They're so proud of themselves. Right? They're so proud Look at what we did. We crushed these people because they dared to try to have true price discovery. And this is what they've forgotten. Whether GameStop should be $10 a share or $1,000 a share, who knows? But it's the same reason. If you're upset about the election, right? And you look at states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin come to mind, who they broke the law, their own laws. They changed the rules that they weren't allowed to change, blah, blah, blah. If you're upset about listen, Wall Street did just that. We're going to change the rules because we don't like the results. And this is what I've been trying to tell you forever. You do understand how this ends, right? Because let's make no mistake about what's happening today. Who cares? What happened in GameStop and what happened with the silver margins today, none of that matters. When the big crash comes, you will not be able to get a cent out of your Wall Street accounts. Period. Sir. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. And again, I wish I had, more realistic markets would be so helpful, right? And when we look at the physical markets, silver is few and far between. I'm the cheapest there is. Dimes and quarters is all I've got, right? I don't pre-sell things I don't have, mostly because we're just not equipped to deal with it, because always what happened, even the Silver Eagles, remember, day after day after day, I was telling you, 3 weeks, a month, 3 weeks, a month, 5 days goes by, people are calling, where's my silver, where's my silver? It's coming. That's why I hate to do it. But if I can't book it, I won't. Now, these other companies, I could go out and buy short silver contracts, I guess. I could. Kind of defeats the purpose. But when they try to give the illusion that supply and demand is something irrelevant, or even more importantly, fake, right? They create fake supply and demand. That's what we have with the dollar right now. It's fake. Because the simple answer is we can't sell all the debt we've created. That's why do you think the Federal Reserve is buying it all? Right now, none of you know, well, you do if you've listened to me, that the Federal Reserve every day gives about $2 trillion to the banks because they don't have enough cash. And they give it to them because the banks are holding all of this treasury debt that nobody will buy. Right? And now that the rates have started to rise, even if they had a buyer, they'd lose money on it. So we've got this big fake make-believe debt market. And don't kid yourself, Wall Street's a debt market. And it's just like GameStop. Demand was off the charts. So what did Wall Street do? Blocked it. Changed the rules. We want to pretend that wasn't what the case was. Silver. Demand, listen, way before this Wall Street bets thing, silver demand was flying. Go back 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago. Money's been pouring into the gold and silver ETFs in record amounts. And again, Wall Street can pretend it's not happening. They can, and they will. But when the dam breaks, you're going to see huge moves in both the gold and silver markets as they get back to where the supply and demand fundamentals really are. Right now, everywhere I see, everyone's thinking $40 silver. That's just what it looks like. Of course, I said this last year. Listen, silver's going to be somewhere between 40 and $50 by the end of this year, period. It's just going to be. Gold's going to be approaching 3,000. Well, how do you know this? The answer is supply and demand. That's how. That's how I know it. Look at what's happening with the dollar. Look at what's happening with the emergence of the world's new superpower. There was an article about China's economy versus our economy. You know, we're the number one economy as far as dollars go, right? And again, it's something to where I can't stress this enough. China's already the world's number one consumer of things. China is the supplier of the world. Right? When we were the superpower, the new superpower, we were the supplier of the world. But they talked about GDP. And they said that our GDP last year was $20.93 trillion. And, of course, that was down 2.3%. Now, let me point out, we ran a $4 trillion budget deficit, and actually it was almost $4.5 trillion. I know they only said 3 point something. It's $4.5 trillion. So just to get to this 20 trillion number, right? So already you got a problem there. Remember when we'd have an economy that was 20 trillion and the deficit was maybe 400, 500 billion? Now we've got a $20 trillion economy and the debt is 4.5 trillion. That's not good. The more we're spending, we're getting a whole lot less out of it. Then they said, hey, China's economy is 101.6 trillion renminbi. And then they said that equates to $14.7 trillion. And I'm like, and I'm just sitting here, again, what do I know? You know, only do this for a living. I'm like, where did they get that number from? And they're like, well, you know, based on the renminbi being at like just under 7. Well, what? The renminbi is not 7 renminbi to the dollar. It's closer to 6 than it is 7. But again, that makes it look like we're farther ahead than what we really are, even though we're not ahead at all. China just has less inflation than us. But really, using their number, there's only about a $4 trillion difference in dollars between us and the Chinese. Because the real number, it's not 14.7. It's more like, it's almost 17 trillion. And we're at 20. They're going to grow somewhere around, 5, 6, maybe 7%. We know where we're at growth-wise, right? We're going to spend trillions and trillions and trillions, but we knew before the whole COVID thing, right? We are a 1 to maybe 2% economy. I mean, that was our economy. The Chinese are on pace to surpass the United States in about 4 years. They will be the largest economy in the world, but it gets worse. Their per capita income is still only 25% of ours. How fast is the train coming? China caught us by about $2 trillion last year. If that holds true, in 3 years, they'll pass us. If they did that every year. In 3 years, they would pass us. And that's just using the exchange rate of 6.4. That's the difference between 6.4 and 6.9. They're talking about the exchange rate of the renminbi. So a half of a point is about $1 trillion. Actually, it's a little more than $1 trillion. It's about 1.2 trillion. So just keep in mind how quickly they are coming. And how many times have you heard, it's okay. We're the reserve currency of the world. That's not changing anytime soon. Hell, it isn't. The rest of the world's dumping dollars by 1% to 2% a year every year. They've been doing it for like 6-7 years in a row now. Here's the problem. Wait till the year they dump it by 10% or 20%. Wall Street can't fix that. You can't pretend and wish it away. And again, how corrupt is it? Well, let me give you a great example. Let's go back to GameStop again. Supply and demand, right? So Wall Street said, well, we'll fix it. We'll restrict the demand. Right? Nobody this morning could buy more than 20 shares of GameStop. And again, how did that happen? Well, they just arbitrarily decided. It was for your own good, by the way. Okay. But yet, somehow, Wall Street was able to short $5 billion worth. Right? So, I mean, GameStop at the time, and I don't know what it was, but let's just say at the time it was $150. So you couldn't buy more than $3,000 worth. But Wall Street could short $5 billion worth. See what I'm saying? This is the problem. This is a house of cards. I don't want it to be. But they need to prevent true price discovery. They have to. I'm not blaming them. Because I get it. It'll be bad. It's going to be bad. I don't want it to be bad, but it's going to be bad when it all happens. And this is just a great example. And this isn't going to be the first. It's not going to be the last. Of how this really works. They want to protect their system. This is why we're going to go to a digital currency. Think about how much easier it's going to be with a digital currency to prevent you from having freedoms. Right? Just be so easy now. And restrict everything. You just do what you're told, and if you do a good job of not looting and rioting and not committing crimes, we'll send you a check every month. Right? You can live in your apartment, subsidized by the government. All the media being controlled, right? I mean, I don't know what it's like in China. I've never been there. But I got to believe, we like to pretend about how they have no freedom. I mean, how much freedom do we have? I mean, you say anything they don't like, you're deplatformed. You start punishing the bankers. What happened? Well, we just block your trades. We change the rules. We screw you over. This is why the demand for gold and silver is through the roof. Everyone knows. I'm right. I know, we all know. This is the biggest bubble yet. The Fed's been in the bubble-making business since they took over. Illegally, by the way, colluding. But that's okay, right? Too late now. First, they took the gold away from us. And I laugh. I think about a $20 gold piece was $42 in 1971. Now you can't buy one for less than $2,200. Same amount of gold as it was 50 years ago. This is how much they've devalued your earnings. And now they don't even give you interest for giving them your money. That used to be the trade-off. Hey, listen, you sign over the rights to your money, but we'll at least pay you for allowing us to use your money, for you to give us your money so we can loan it out to somebody else. Now they don't even do that. Because, listen, you know what they're telling you? The money's worth dog crap. That's it. Seriously. What do you think 0% really means? What is 0 times anything? What does that equal? 0 times 10 times 100 times 1,000 times $4 trillion times $28 trillion times $100 trillion. Doesn't matter what you times it by. Still 0. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment on this Tuesday. Silver dimes, $135 a roll. Quarters at $270 a roll. The bags are 27,000. I have one bag of quarters. That's it. Or 100 rolls. Got 2 bags of dimes. So that's about 400 rolls. That's all that I have in silver. And by the way, the cheapest in the country by a lot that I was able to see. The cheapest I saw, and they didn't even have them. They wanted $143 a roll on the dimes, and that was the least I could find, not in stock, by the way, and $286 on the quarters, not in stock. So, hey, here you go. There's a great opportunity for you. The markets, like I said, I've talked about it all day. Gold's down 20, silver's down $2, Dow's up 600. They're very proud of themselves for once again ripping off the masses. It's just not going to work well for them at all. The Groundhog Day. Yep. Boy, doesn't Wall Street feel like Groundhog? Here they are screwing us again. Right? It really is Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow 6 more weeks of winter. And don't forget our CBD. I'm bowling today. I have my CBD right where I keep my wallet. So when I leave in the morning, I just pop it in my mouth. Boom! It's so easy. It's been a godsend for me with my aches and pains. I actually got an email from Jack and Patty. Their dog, 15 years old. It's coming towards the end. Wasn't even putting her weight on one of her legs. They ordered the pet tincture from our website. And they said within 4 days, it's been night and day. She's running around, not favoring the leg anymore. And and obviously, listen, it's not going to, make, the dog's older. It's going to, have its time, but at least its quality of life is so much better. Listen, it's the best products by far. The best, all organic, no pesticides, no heavy metals, all made here in the U.S. Everything CAO certified, and it's half the price. Go to 1360khnc.com. Get your orders in today. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be adding 3 new products. We'll be adding a pet shampoo, the cocoa, which is my favorite, and then the 3,000 milligram tincture for those of us that may need a little more strength. All of those are coming here, but before we put them on our website, we get all the independent lab stuff. That's why they're not out there yet, because everything we carry there, CAO certified, no THC, anything like that in any of the products we carry. So you don't have to worry about, the THC side effects, the addictions, and drug test and all that other stuff. 1360 KHNC, click the shop button, and then right after you do that, go to allamericangold.com, click the shop button, get your silver put away, and just sit and watch, and we'll see how fast this happens. The Chinese are coming. They want to be the new superpower. And quite honestly, until we fix our financial house, it's never going to be right. Patriot Radio News Hour. God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. The sun is out. We'll be back tomorrow.